by now the word's probably out that we're opening another restaurant. So today is going to be very exciting because we have Matt, one of the founders of the cafe, one of my best friends, and we're going to see a gentleman named Alexis that we met building the first cafe.
How did we find him?
We found him because I was buying art to complete the cafe online, and it turned out that one of the biggest art collectors in the world lives in Santa Barbara. So Alexis is like a serious character. He spends his time between Santa Barbara and Paris collecting Italian and French art. So so I wanted to invite Matt along for this so we could go say hi. We haven't seen him in 4 years.
It's crazy that it's been 4 years and we're going back up there to do this again. It's also rad to be able to go up there understanding what the concept is, what the idea is, and understanding at least a little bit about the space, because I think it'll help us. Because I remember the first time, I think we were just kind of like, yeah, that looks good, and we kind of did it, reverse engineered it once we got everything framed and set up. Yeah. It'll be cool this time to kind of know, okay, here's the 10, 12 items that we're looking for. We already know what the aesthetic is, so it's going to make it a little bit easier, I think.
More than anything, I'm just so excited to catch up with him, to go on his property and show us his collection, because he has, I mean, without exaggerating, a multi-million-dollar art collection. And
remember the garage?
Yeah.
He took us out in the garage, and we thought we had kind of seen everything, because his house...
I thought you said downstairs.
No, upstairs.
Upstairs, my bad.
Get you guys something. I have every, white wine, red wine, cocktails, beer.
Matt doesn't drink anymore. I don't drink anymore. Well, I'll have something.
Yeah, get some. Yeah.
Really cool stuff in here.
Look at this one, Led Zeppelin. Dude, this is...
How did you get into this?
Well, this because I was the youngest hippie in San Francisco, and I actually knew most of these artists, and I knew a lot of the people, a lot of the entertainers. I mean, I got a chance to meet a lot of them because everybody didn't. It wasn't like celebrity today. I mean, Janis Joplin picked me up when I was hitchhiking once.
So what would be the best piece of art for like a young couple getting their first house? Like something that they could be proud of, that could...
I always say, and and what I hang here in the house basically is what I really like. Mm-hmm. And, oh my God, none of us are immune, I suppose. Let's see some art.
Sounds good.
Jesus, but what you have to do is walk towards it.
Yeah, no.
And of course you don't see Jesus anymore. You see 400 little individual they're little vignettes.
There's like a dozen of them, but...
Walter, I've seen little paintings, just dug up in the garage. I have a lot of stuff in France, which I'll be bringing more and more back.
Wow. This is more like Matt style right here.
Yeah.
Classic Italian.
Okay.
Anything like that, but Italian inspired. So like we bought some Bugatti ones from you.
Okay.
We bought some
we'll
Ferrari
take a look.
ones.
I have a few things upstairs, and then I have other things that
this space, unfortunately, doesn't have as much room for us to just hang art everywhere. It's mainly...
Well, let's go look.
Yeah,
we'll go look upstairs.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sure. I was.
You're kidding me?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're kidding me?
Yeah, that's me. I'm the snake.
Really? Well, here, that's for you.
Thank you. Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're too
Absolutely.
kind.
Hello. It's normal.
That's great. That's probably why I call you
Check
right.
it out, Corey.
Okay.
Let's see it.
That is actually. That is
set it
actually. That's great. And it's a great poster.
Oh.
So in
It's
the
a-
Chinese...
Well, in San Francisco, they would make a poster every year for their parade, and the parade is, monumental in San Francisco. It's a big part of the Chinese culture, and they're like the Anglo culture in San Francisco, because hundreds of thousands of people participate in that parade, or at least are spectators.
Wow.
The parade's amazing. So every year they make a poster. They used to. I don't think they're doing it so much now. But in the 70s, 60s, and so on, they made posters.
So
The
this was
posters are
from
collectible.
1977?
Oh, no, it is. I mean,
Oh,
that poster
wow.
was printed in 1977.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
This reminds me of when we were trying to buy art from him before, because he'd be like, this is probably worth about $4,000. I'm going to sell it to you for $250. Like
Well,
right
I remember,
over
yeah.
over the whole time.
Yeah,
So
it
you don't
made
have
the
to do
restaurant-
that
made
this
the
time.
restaurant
it's
special.
okay, but I mean, it's not an ulterior motive, but I mean, we have to understand the reality. I mean, for a lot of this stuff, I paid nothing because 35 years ago, I used to pull stuff like that. I mean, I probably paid $5 for that 25 years ago in San Francisco because I found a bunch of them in a Chinese shop or something, and the guy said, oh, you know, $4 each or something. I mean, this poster, for instance, I remember buying, I think, for about $25, but I bought it 25 or 30 years ago. A few of these things I actually pulled out of the trash because, you know, like I would actually find, you know, rolls of posters in trash cans in Paris and bins in Paris because people didn't care about them then. Now they're highly collectible. I mean, highly collectible. If you go online and start, you know, looking at the prices of some posters, they are insane. Look, I've got this poster, for instance, that I just sold. I still have some of these. Show it to you. So
Look
these
at
are a liquor
this
store,
thing.
right? So Pinot Lillet is a really well-known French, you know, aperitif. They're
Wow.
juicy cocktails, okay? So this poster was printed in 1937. And I sell this poster for like $800, something like that, or
It
$1,000.
looks like it'd be worth like $300,000.
No, but it is worth about $2,500. So I went online the other night, and I can show you upstairs. I actually photographed 4 or 5 dealers in America that are selling this for like $2,800, $3,500.
Wow,
I found
this
one for
is
19.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I hope we have room for a couple pieces like this.
Yeah, I think that's.
This is great colors. It's French, but
Yeah.
we have to be careful how much French stuff we put. But this is really beautiful. With that, the bullet on that.
See that?
Oh, we definitely have to get
Yeah,
this.
that's
Oh,
great.
this is in
That's
French.
Italian. Yeah, I would say French and Italian, but it's a you know, Italian.
Yeah, that's
it's an
cool.
Italian, you know, product. It's
Maybe that's the plan.
This is a good sign.
Is having the assistant maybe pull some stuff and then being able to like
Obviously, me
back
and
into.
really stunning, actually. It's
Come up the
Italian.
level.
It's big. Mother coming in, my mother's hip, you know. I mean, she actually ended up turning out herself a few years later. My brother, who's a cardiologist, got her really stoned one day. So here she came and she said, "I just don't understand, Alex. I mean, all of these cashmere sweaters, and my God, you have so many records." Because, you know, a record costs like $5 or $6, but I had hundreds of them. You know, and that stereo, I mean, how are you doing this?
So I have the question of the night. I've always wanted to ask
Yeah.
someone this question.
Sure.
What were Quaaludes like?
Well, you know, I've got a confession. I have a confession. I've taken every drug imaginable except 2. I was addicted to heroin when I was like 34 years old for a year, and I never shot anything. Needles weren't my thing, but I was addicted to heroin. I would snort, you know, like often.
Even better.
and
We can talk about that.
Oh, but you know, I would start 1 gram to 3 grams a day, and it was just extraordinary. And Dan Hicks is actually who got me into that, and I was just, I mean, it was the most powerful and the most productive I've ever been in my life, because that's what heroin does. Heroin makes you feel better than any drug on the planet. That's why they give it to people who are dying. It's just as simple as that. The unfortunate thing with heroin is, and you can live for 50 years being a junkie, as we all know that, you know, Keith Richards has. I mean, many people have. You can be a junkie for, you know, decades, as long as you eat well and take care of yourself in a way and don't get hepatitis or, you know, HIV or whatever that you can get from needles. I, after 1 year, was really addicted and loved it. I used to wake up at 3 and 4 in the morning. It was in Paris. I had a habit that cost about $100 or $200 a day, which was peanuts because I was making so much money. I would put on a miner's cap and take a flashlight and go to, you know, like flea markets early in the morning. I'd find a Gallet vase, you know, for like $400 and sell it for $2,000 in the afternoon to a dealer in Paris in a big fancy shop. I did this all the time. I mean, I just was incredibly productive.
You were immersed.
Huh?
You were immersed.
I was. And nobody knew. You know, I had beautiful children going to private school. Marie Christine was working on her PhD at the time. She's a beautiful woman. The family, you know, like a big, you know, beautiful family. Nobody knew, and everything went fine. Then one day, we were going to Normandy, the big house that we just bought part of. This is, you know, like 40 years ago. It's like almost 40 years ago. And I couldn't score before I went because I was going to take with me, like a little stash of heroin just so I'd make it through the holiday, happily. And my father-in-law was a doctor. My brother-in-law was a doctor. And we were doing the foie gras oyster thing on Christmas Eve with about 15 or 20 people at the table with the maids and the bells and everything. Everybody was dressed up, they were pretty formal in a way. And I started perspiring because I hadn't had heroin in 2 days.
And your wife, no one knew that you were on heroin?
Well, actually, she kind of knew that I took some because she actually tried it once or twice and hated it. Because, generally when I remember the first 3 or 4 times that I took heroin, I got sick each time because I was drinking alcohol. Or, it's a violent drug. But then you get used to it very, very quickly. And it actually takes probably about a month to really get addicted. But I was addicted. And happily, once again, I never shot. So, I avoided, some of those, the systemic, diseases that junkies get all the time. But, you can get very, very high snorting it or smoking it, very high. And I was, doing other kinds of drugs too, not so much coke, but, some opium and, smoking pot and drinking a lot. And I was perspiring, and my father-in-law, who I was sitting close to, said, something's wrong. He's a doctor. And he said, Alex, something's wrong. Are you okay? And I said, no. And he said, I think you have a terrible flu or something. He said, come with me. Part of the house that we just purchased, a wing of it, because it has wings, what we call wings, was a clinic at the time, like a 5 or 6 room clinic, and he had an X-ray machine inside and so on. So between courses, between, like the oysters and, like the lamb or whatever, he took me in to the clinic, took X-rays, checked me out. I couldn't do blood tests, but he said, well, I want you in bed immediately. I just don't feel good about how you're feeling. So I went upstairs, but before I went, I looked around the table and I saw, candles and maids and, Mozart was playing in the background and, it was just, and I looked at my children and I thought, God, they're so beautiful. And they were, I thought, fuck this. I'm never going to do this again. So I went upstairs and it was like 3 or 4 of the weirdest days I ever spent. And I never touched that drug again, even though I'd go to parties and people were doing lines and, this Alex, do you want something?
Oh, he's such a
Get the fried chicken sandwich.
No, the Dean's chicken sandwich. Okay, I have to find my poster.
Best one in town. All right, we'll be in touch, okay?